Today we're going to talk about the biggest mistake that I've made in filmmaking thus far. I've made a bunch of minor mistakes, but this one was huge. It's the biggest mistake ever. It's huge. Hey guys, what's up and welcome to A Bite of Brownie. I'm Jared and I'm the chief filmmaker around here. And as the chief filmmaker, a lot of what you see gets filtered through my eyes. A lot of what you see on film is my interpretation of the world around me, my interpretation of what God is showing me through this lens. I choose what you see. I choose what parts to cut out and what parts to show. And sometimes I'm guilty of showing only the highlights, only the best parts of my day, only the best parts of my week and my month, or the best parts of the story that I'm trying to tell. And that can be pretty dangerous because we all have bad times, we all have bad stuff, and we're in danger of just showing the highlight reel. I hate it when you just show the highlight reel because whenever I see other people's stories, I'm assuming that's their everyday grind and that they live from just this wonderful place of enlightenment, when in actual fact, there's catastrophic failures going on a daily basis. And whenever I wipe out hard. I wipe out totally and completely. Whenever I fail, I don't just fail a little bit, I fail on my face with everyone looking. That's my world. Now, I am a self-deprecating person. That's one of my flaws. That's one of my issues. Hey, mine to deal with. But on this channel, sometimes I show you only the highlight reel to be true to who I am and to show you the highs and the lows, the ups and the downs, and tell a much richer story as a filmmaker. I need to show you that, man, it's okay when you wipe out, when you absolutely eat dirt, because that's when you grow the most. I think failure is a natural part of the journey. I think it's one of the most integral parts of the journey. The following is the story of my biggest screw up to date. A couple months ago, actually at the end of last year, I went to go shoot a video for friends. Jesse and I know a beautiful couple named Brian and Molly Borders. They own a restaurant called The Smokestack in Thurber, Texas. It is amazing. If you've ever been to The Smokestack, it is incredible. And part of what makes that place incredible is Brian and Molly. I really wanted to bring awareness to their restaurant. I wanted to communicate to all my friends, anyone who would listen, how awesome Brian and Molly are and how awesome the food is at The Smokestack. Maybe somebody would go, somebody would see this video and go try them out. So what did I do? I call up Brian and Molly, say, hey, actually I think I texted them. I text Brian and Molly and said, hey guys, would you mind sticking your neck out there? Would you mind taking a risk on me? It's not like gonna go viral or anything because, you know, I only have a few subscribers, but maybe there would be some awareness that would be brought to your place. Maybe God could breathe on this thing, bring customers out to your place, and people would see what an awesome product you guys have. Being the gracious couple that they are, they said, sure, come on out. We're serving buttermilk pies tonight. Come on out, we'll sit down, we'll interview you for as much time as we can give you, and then you can go on your merry way, post a video, we'll see what happens. No expectations, we love you, we're your friends. The night of the shoot, everything's going beautifully. They come over to a table, we have perfect lighting, I've got some audio set up, I've got my cell phone at the time, because that's what I was shooting off of, which shot in 4K. I got my new drone, it was the maiden flight of my new drone, I was going to get some drone footage, shoot them, bam! Film them in their environment, talking about the things that they love, showing the food that they love, showing the people that they love. We had some people from the church who were actually out there eating. So people that they love, food that they love, an environment that they love, and it was amazing. The only hang up, I shot in 4K. Now that shouldn't have been a big deal. Every YouTuber these days is trying to shoot in 4K. My cell phone happened to shoot in 4K. If you're not familiar with 4K, 4K is 4 times the resolution of a normal screen. A 1920 by 1080 resolution screen is what you're probably viewing on right now. 4K is 4 times the resolution. It means that you can have 4 1920 by 1080 screens in one frame shot. So if you wanted to zoom in on just my hat, you could zoom in and you wouldn't lose any quality, or you would have rich flowing pixels. Who doesn't want more clarity? And so I thought, I've got a cell phone that shoots in 4K, I'm gonna pound out some 4K. What you may not know if you're not a filmmaker or an editor is that while you get 4 times the resolution, you get 4 times the data. It's huge, it's huge. Huge. I shot the night with Brian and Molly. They opened up their hearts. They opened up their testimony. They opened up their place. I mean, we had full access to the kitchen. We had full access to the grill. We had full access to the outsides. We had full access to the smokestack, to the grounds. It was incredible. Shot it all on 4K, and then I couldn't use it. Why couldn't I use it? Because when I brought it back home to do the editing, to begin the editing, my computer would shut down every time. Like most small-time filmmakers, I have a small budget. Therefore, I edit on a laptop that was bought for cost efficiency. I tried everything. I tried to open it up in segments and work on small files and then export it. They would take hours. They would take like 8 hours to process small, tiny segments. It was insane, absolutely insane. What's worse is it took me weeks and weeks and weeks to figure this out. By the time I finally figured it out, I was embarrassed to call Brian and Molly. I was embarrassed to say, hey guys, I know you've been waiting for like 6 to 8 weeks, but I can't get this thing to work. I'm still not figuring it out. Even though you're friends and even though you don't care a bit in the world, I have a little bit too much pride to say, I couldn't get your project together. I couldn't get it out. I'm sorry. Not like they were waiting on it or anything. It was just a pride thing on my end to say, I can't do it. I just don't have the expertise yet. I don't have the equipment. And I shouldn't have shot in 4K. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Mo money, mo problems. Mo pixels, mo problems. Is the problem that I didn't know what I was doing and I made a mistake? No, I'm an idiot. I make mistakes on the reg. The problem was that I didn't fess up to my mistake. I didn't say early on, hey Brian, hey Molly, I'm having trouble. Would you grant me a little grace? I think I'm going to have to scrap this and come out and shoot again. I'm sorry. I'm drowning. I don't even know what to say about it. What did I learn from this encounter? I didn't tell them early enough on that I was struggling. I didn't tell them right off the bat that the reason that their video is late is because I'm having trouble working on it. Instead, I just stayed silent. Instead of calling them up immediately or texting them and saying, I'm having trouble, and them understanding why I'm late, there's just been this distance and this silence. And that is my number one regret. That's my number one failure here. If I could learn anything from this failure, it would be next time I'm going to work for Brian and Molly, whenever I film it in 4K, I'm going to call them up immediately and say, Brian and Molly, I'm an idiot. I filmed in 4K and my computer is breaking. Every time I try and process your footage, my computer breaks. Is there a way I could come out and reshoot this thing? Or can I just say sorry that I'm learning and I suck as a filmmaker right now, but I will be better. I will plan. Guess what? Next time, I'm not going to shoot in 4K until I have a computer to process 4K. I'm not going to jump out of the kiddie pond until I'm ready. I think just knowing my own limits and being okay with those limits and not being ashamed of the things that I can't do, that might be something that I'm taking away from this. Still sucks! Hey, guess what? Learn from my failure. Still sucks! Biggest failure of all time? Shooting in 4K. Even bigger than that? Being okay with limitations. Wow, this turned into a confessional. Biggest failure thus far is not being okay with not being okay. The biggest failure thus far is being devastated in the process. That's my biggest hang up as a person. That's my biggest failure in filmmaking, and that's my biggest hurdle in life thus far. All right, I just wanted to give you guys the other side of the equation, and I think I proved my point thoroughly that my life isn't all roses. My filmmaking career, business, endeavor, whatever you want to call it, this little jaunt into filmmaking, I'm not a rock star at it. I have a blast filmmaking. It's so much fun. I think it's going to be a passion of my life. Anywho, that's my biggest failure. Overshare and a half. I love you guys. If you want to grow in love and be a part of this journey for crashing? If you want to be a part of the journey of crashing and burning, or just crashing and burning and letting Jesus do whatever he wants to do with your life, hey, consider subscribing. If you want to increase in love and your impact with Jesus, do the same. Wow, that was incredibly intense. If you want a more lighthearted video, you might try one of these right here. That is it for me. I am out on this one. Love you.